All right, you guys, as we move through our ink unit, one of the things we're thinking about on top of value, so the light and dark that you can make with your ink, is also the idea of texture. So I have this worksheet for you. I've used it for years. It's kind of a fun, easy one, and it gives you 7. It may look like 5, but there are 7 textures on here. So we've got a burlap sack, stone wall, fish scales, cactus, fur, and I also want wood and glass. Those are both different types of texture, right? The feeling of something smooth, something prickly. In your sketchbook page, super easy. You're just going to go ahead and trace your hand. I want you using a pencil for this. For parts of this drawing, there's no outline, so it has to be started in pencil in order for you to erase any kind of black outline. So pay attention for that. I don't want to see outlines, okay? I even traced my wrist a little bit if you'd like. Whoa, and I traced my wedding ring. That looks a little weird. Okay. Next, I'm going to go through each one really briefly with you. There is actually a written description if you have this worksheet in front of you. Some of you might. If you're working strictly from what I've been able to post on our Power School page here, you are squinting probably trying to read this. So this one says a burlap sack is created with a rough pattern of crossed lines with a few darker spots. So to create my burlap sack, I'm going to use light pressure on my pen. And I'm going to create these sort of wavy lines that go down my finger. I'm kind of bringing them all from a point as if that pinky finger were wrapped in a burlap sack. And then I'm going to do crisscrossing lines. Remember, this is not a grid. I should not see a perfect grid chart from you. So make those lines a little wavy. A burlap sack is kind of funky. So my lines are tiny bit wavy. You can't even see what I'm doing. I apologize. So I'm waving my lines just a smidge, okay? I don't want a big ocean wave, but you know, we don't need perfect grid lines. And this should have gone all the way and outlined my finger even. Next up on this little burlap sack finger, you'll notice there's little hairs that are sort of sticking off. That gives it that rough texture. And the other thing they mentioned in there was coloring in a few of them. Take a few of them and sort of wiggle in some dark areas. Notice this. It still looks like a finger. This side is a little bit darker than this side. So a few more of the black spots on that side makes that finger have shading, and I want to see that on every finger. Notice you can even see some wrinkles where it's darker here and there. Moving on to our stone wall. It says here, for a rough stone texture, first draw the stones, then shade each of them with lines. So I'm going to start by drawing my stone shape, which is a curving line just slightly because our finger is round like a cylinder. So I'm doing my lines across. I would go all the way down. And then I'm going to do the little vertical lines. I feel like that needs another one in there. Staggering them so it feels sort of like stacked bricks. Next, I'm going to go into each brick and notice they are shaded with tall lines that shrink down to shorter lines. So a tall line like this, just sort of lightly hatched in there to shade each stone and give them a bit of a texture. And again, this has shading on the side of the finger. They included a cross hatching on the left side of the hand. So I want to see that. I want to see you thinking about shading in even over a stone texture. I would add in some hatching or cross hatching. Next, we've got scales. So something like fish scales or a snake would have scales. A lot of times I catch kids doing circles. It's like a row of U. U. You're just doing these little U shapes going across your finger and sort of staggering them. So you're going to fill it with this U shape for fish scales. Again, noticing they've colored in some of them to be dark on the left side of the finger and even across where our finger wrinkles are. Cactus, one of my favorites. Long wavy lines that come from the tip. Kind of think about waving them a little bit with the shape of the finger. They sort of curve out. It's okay to outline on this one because you have a line that's vertical down the finger. To make it look spiky, they add these little clusters of spikes, some on the outside edges of the finger, some right on the lines in the middle, maybe have them go in different directions. That gives us the spiky feel. And last, I want you to notice again, they've added hatching across the side on the left and around there to give it some shading. Moving on to my thumb, we're doing the fur. I am not crazy about this. Notice how they did the fur, but they did it in rows. Nobody's fur looks like that. I want you to work not doing rows. So from the tip of the finger, I'm making short marks. fur all grows in the same direction. So don't start doing it all over the place or crisscrossing. Your fur should have a flow. Think about petting your cat or your dog. The fur grows in one direction. So I'm working up and down and left and right. I'm not just working one row at a time because that's why that came looking funny. Not much you can do for shading here. You could try to add a few more lines on that left side. Lastly, I want the plank of wood somewhere on your page. So I've got a rectangle. And it says here it has wavy lines. Notice the wavy lines. They're just kind of loose wavy lines. You might give a space here and there, and then you can go back in and include sort of a knot. And that's about all that we're going to see here for that. Sheet of glass. Super, super easy. It's just a few, barely any little hatch marks going across the page to make it look like the glass is shining a little bit. Nothing too crazy. I do like how they added a shadow on the wood and the glass. Oh, and I'm adding one more thing. I want that tree. It's a little orange tree. All it is this kind of wiry looking trunk, some wiggly lines, great wood texture there. So add that in. The branch goes up into the tree. Ooh, you can barely see me. I'm sorry, I went off the screen. Let me move up. And then for the oranges and the leaves, all they've done was fill it with these circles, circles, circles. And then they go back and they leave some of the circles white, maybe slightly larger to be the fruit. And they've made other circles a little bit darker to shade in sort of the leaf area of the tree. Okay, so that's what I expect your page to look like. I also appreciate it when students finish the whole hand. So I want to see that little bit of hatching, you know, your crisscrossy wrinkles on your hand, the wrist. Not required, but it certainly looks cool if you add the zigzag line that is the hand pushing up out of the ground. Okay, that's your requirement for your texture hand, fully inked with a fine tip ink pen, not anything fat. If you are desperate, you're at home, you don't have a fine tip Sharpie or something similar. By the way, I mean ultra fine tip Sharpie. Can you see that? Focus. Ultra fine tip Sharpie. If you don't have something like that at home, I will accept a black ballpoint pen in cases of emergency. All right, good luck. Please email me if you have questions.